Excellent. Hey, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to it. It is the Ace Michaels Show. And I'm Ace Michaels, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys because you cats are what's happening. You cats are the cats, man. I try to emulate everything y'all do except stupid shit. But today I had something that hit me, man. It hit me so hard. Like I didn't even know I was capable of being hit this hard. That's what happened. Like I was you know, I don't know if you guys ever go on Reddit or Quora, but like if you go there, you're really opening yourself up to like a whole wilderness of people's ideas. Like, like it'll start off really simple with like one question that like would seem like all you have to do is give me like one simple basic answer to that question, but by the time you go through the thread about three deep, you're in a whole nother like you think Star Trek was about going to different destinations. so so today I don't even remember what the simple question was, but I had the audacity to go ahead and click on the link, and it started talking about life in like the 1600s, like being a servant working for the king, and I guess on the onset that doesn't sound so bad because I mean we work for the king now, right? But when you think about what this guy was saying, he was like, well, first off, days were shorter, number one, because we didn't have lights. So, your day is gonna run from like maybe 7:30 in the morning till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So there is no nightlife unless you're going to like be a jester for the king or something like that. You might be able to be like entertaining the king is basically all you live to do is give him his enjoyment. And then if you're really lucky, and I mean really lucky, and this is the part that blew my mind because I'm still thinking about this. Let me put this to you guys in a certain way. Like if you think your job sucks, if you really do, all right, raise your hand, but not if you're driving. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really think your job sucks, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. Yes, your job probably does suck because you think it does. But if your job is to lay at the feet of the king, and in case the king has a nightmare in the middle of the night, you have to wake up and give him a pillow, and that's your job. And if you don't do your job, you'll lose your head. Now that's a job that sucks. You think your job sucks? That's a job that truly sucks. So, let's keep it all in perspective. We may not like what's going on in our world today, but you do not have to be an extra set of socks for the king. So just think about that whenever you get really disappointed. Just remember that it's not that bad. Anyway, on today's show, man, we have a gentleman who's with us today. He is an actor. He is a music artist. He is all up in this entertainment industry for real. I hope he never gets to the point where I have to lay my body down on his bed rest and be his feet comforter. But anyway, he might be that big one day. But I don't know if I'll succumb to that. But anyway, welcome to the show. My guest for the first time, we got a first timer here. We'll go easy on him for the first few minutes. My guest today is Mr. Black Nova is with us on the show today. Black Nova, how you doing, sir?
Am fine now. I'm with the ace.
Yes, you are with Ace Michaels on the Ace Michael Show, baby. And Black Nova, now you have a different name, or do you divulge your different name, like your legal government name, or do you only go by Black Nova?
I am K.E. Dorham. That's capital K period, capital E period, Dorham, Dorham of the Black Nova Experience.
Look at this guy using his sexy elevator voice. I wasn't affected by that, sir. The ladies got that out of you. I didn't. I was, but your name is a distinguished name. Now, why would you go from your distinguished name? Because that's like an author's name.
Well,
K E, right?
yeah, I've
K
been
E
using my
Durham.
abbreviated name for quite a while.
That's a dope name. K E
Appreciate
Durham.
it.
K. You're not gonna tell us what the K or the E. We don't need to know if it's that. You don't got to tell nobody. But it's
Yeah,
Ke. I like that. Durham. What made you decide you needed a different name other? Because that's a dope name, Ke Durham.
it's my father went by his abbreviated name
Uh huh.
all the days of his life, and it just was attractive to me that he did that, and so I followed his footsteps.
I got you. And now
Yeah,
here's the elephant in the room question, because this is going to plague my viewers, right? Like, so then why Black Nova? Why not Purple Nova or Chartreuse Nova or Paisley Nova? Like, what was Black Nova? Were you the only Nova that
back
was colored?
back.
Like, how did you
Well,
Black Nova?
not the only Black Nova out there now, but I am the Black Nova.
So you're like,
I was actually given that name by the director that helped direct my very first music video, Kisha, back in Oakland. He gave me the name Black Nova Entertainment. It stuck. Years later, when me and my co-producer Ricardo Love, a brilliant guitarist, got together, I wanted to honor him and his brilliance by making us a duo like none other, and I gave us the name Black Nova as a music duo.
and I don't have a dog in that race because I run around going by Ace Michaels. So Ace is a name that I got from a stage show that I was doing, and somebody called me Ace, and I was like, hey, nobody's going to forget that. But
Right.
plenty of people do. But Black Nova sounds like a superhero to me. Like, I was when it first time you told me, I was like, does he know he's giving away his superhero identity? Like, you're not supposed to just tell me. You're supposed to let me figure it out after accidentally you leave your glasses on the desk one day and then I can see it or something. But yeah, Black Nova. And this other gentleman you said, was it Reggie Love?
Ricardo Love.
Ricardo Love. This is another distinguished name. Black people have distinguished names. I will say that. We do some good names. We probably, I can't think of any other culture or race that does better names than black people. We I think we have the best names. What do you think?
Most of the time, it's something that you'll never forget.
Yeah, like we'll put together like two names from two different type of origins. Like, girl's name might be Khadijah Ali Epstein, and you'd be like, "What? Like, how? How did that
Right.
happen?"
Marilyn Manson kind of one upped us on his name.
Yeah, I don't know about that dude though. For
How
like
he
for real, like,
took two 60s icons, that were on the extreme end of existence and put them
exactly.
together. So we got at least one of them got us.
Yeah, that's only one. Like, I think black people are the most creative people, and I'm not saying, okay. So let me just, before y'all even start, okay. I'm not saying it because I'm a black person. I'm just saying, you look at arts and culture, okay? Black people rule arts and culture. I don't care what, black people rule arts and culture. The only people, in my opinion, my humble opinion, and I'd love to know what Black Nova thinks about this. In my humble opinion, the only people as a culture that come close, even remotely close to black people in artistic expression, creativity, longevity. Um, you could go with all the tatis, right? I think the Asian culture, Japanese, Chinese culture, I think those people really ignite a lot culturally. I think they bring a lot as far as art forms, dance, music, instruments, filmmaking. I think, aside from black people, I think that probably the Asian culture, I'll just say the Asian culture as a one general thing, but I kind of feel more like the Chinese and Japanese are really the leaders in artistic expression, aside from black people. And black people are the true leaders, in my opinion. What do you think, Black Nova?
Well, it sounds like you're talking about Black Nova. Let's just take a
Ah!
quick look at Yeah, let's just take a quick look at the Black Nova experience.
Yeah,
You know,
he says so modestly.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are not familiar, and when you say things and no one's really familiar, with all your productions and accomplishment, it sounds like you're full of yourself. But looking at the Black Nova experience,
Okay.
we are a multi-genre original music duo with songs mainly based in R&B. We have a blues album yet to be released, a rock album and rock concert that we won't release because it has political content on it that
Okay.
just not soothing to the soul, but it's very truthful. We have an adult or temporary contemporary album with songs in bossa nova. We have one country song that's out, and you'll find all of our brilliant music video production where we have gone on location and I've done the costuming to give all the music videos, an original, authentic feel. Even
Mm.
traveling from the Bay Area to Virginia City, right here on the other side of Reno, to shoot the "All Come On" Western comedy video to a song on our blues album. So when you go and see, Black Nova, Black Nova Entertainment on YouTube, you will find all of these colorful, brilliant music videos with all this original music content.
Mm.
Even the 85-year-old Miss Carrie Cleveland, who was big stuff back in the 70s. Her husband, Bill Cleveland, comprised a band and composed songs and placed her out front, and they performed. And she's no less than Marilyn McCool and Donna Summers.
Oh
And
wow.
her husband, Mr. Bill Cleveland, passed away years back, and she hadn't recorded in 44 years until I met her and her son
Mm.
at a music video shoot in Nauru Quana, going vegan. And I heard her sing a little bit at 81
Mm.
and asked her and her son if I could bring her in and, do some new music for her. And now, as of February 18th, Miss Carrie Cleveland's Beauty Nap Google Me is now out there floating around for all of the people who had been playing her music in London and in Germany for
Wow.
4 decades, selling digital downloads, thought that she was gone from us. And so when I saw this lady dancing to her song over in London on the bridge, I was like, wow, how wonderful would it be to give them some new product of Carrie Cleveland when they thought she's been long gone. And
Mm.
now we found that woman that was dancing on the bridge over there, and she's been teaching, dance classes with all of the songs that came off that 1978, recording of Carrie Cleveland, and to find all this new music now and this new beautiful videos with her in her majesty in her royal blue gown and all the ladies of Black Nova. And so we've been pretty creative, no doubt.
Yeah.
And now being here in Las Vegas and doing even more, you know. So yeah, yeah.
Well,
Sounds like you're talking about us.
there's a couple of questions I want to ask you based on what you said. The first one, I'm gonna repeat it because I want you to think about the answer before you answer. Is what motivates you, Black Nova, to do all this stuff? What is your motivation behind it? And so here comes the question again. What
Well,
motivates you, Black Nova?
well, other than just having a really creative spirit and stuff just flowing out of me, um, everything that I produce is really a social help tool for the heart.
Hmm.
Whether it be the lyrics in all of the songs that I've written, even when I'm messing around, there's a point to it and a story in every song.
Hmm.
The books that I've published, Snakes and Snails, which takes you on a journey of what it's like to be a male child from the age of 3 all the way to adulthood, and things that males are challenged with that a woman would never know unless a man be honest enough to reveal those things.
Hmm.
um, the music videos that we produce, they have a point to them. My podcast, the hidden the hidden thought show, um, gets into the reasons behind our motivations, takes a deeper dive than the surface politically correct, responses that people give in order to skate by and to never have to hold a mirror to self or to never reveal self to even self. The podcast doesn't allow, the viewer to do that.
Hmm.
But the purpose of all of what I produce is to help people go deeper inside and to be able to step over the potholes that I've already stepped in so that people can get on to the better parts of their walk that they might not get to without seeing what the Black Nova experience, produces.
And so that kind of answers, but there's still like several grains of rice missing for the bowl to be full.
Hmm.
But what motivated you to do this? Like, was this a calling from you feel like God said to you, this is your job, or you had an accident in your life and you decided to change your life and this is the way? Like, what is the driving force behind all this? Why do you want to help so many people? You know?
Man, yeah, my personal, journey and struggle had definitely been the ground basis for all of this, you
Mm.
know, and in me writing my books and doing the podcast and getting into show matter and subject matter, you know, I found out that the rocky road I had was basically due to one thing that a lot of us really would not like to acknowledge.
Hmm.
The fact that most of us, our births were not planned. We were born to people who was just trying to get some good feeling for themselves, and then poof, you popped up, and they had to deal with the fact that you were here.
That's going on a
So,
T-shirt. I love that. Our births were my.
yeah,
I'm gonna make my T-shirt this happening.
yeah,
My birth was not planned. That is for
right.
sure.
So when your birth was not planned, it's according to what type of parents you get,
Mm,
and how they, bring you along or whether they
right.
bring you along or
If
not.
yes, if you're lucky enough, they'll bring you along. Yeah.
Right. And you find out that basically you were an accident and your parent did these four basic things to make sure that they didn't look, like irresponsible parents. They put a roof over your head, put some
Mm,
clothes on your back, made sure you weren't starving, and sent you to school, because it
right.
was mandated. Other than that, they may have never known who you were. And you may have been like me, growing up feeling specially cursed, like you're in the way, like you foiled somebody's plan.
Mm,
And then you're born into a society where there's all these rules and regulation and
mm,
religious expectations, all this stuff. So you basically spend the first half of your life just trying to figure out what is useful and what is not. What is the truth and what is not? And then you have a personal journey of your own, the purpose, reason why you came here. Well, nobody really made you aware of that because they weren't paying no attention to you in the first place. And you have to figure all this stuff out
mm,
just so you can start to get on the pathway to your walk.
mm,
And there's all sorts of dips and valleys and low points and stuff, and you wonder why you're here, and you wonder why, some people like you and other people don't, and you're just feeling, really messed up inside.
mm, mhm,
And so everything that I produce is because I went through that, surviving, suicide and thank you, Erica Broyard, my personal savior
mm,
for coming into my life, and pushing the reset button on my life and giving me a view of myself that my parents failed to give me.
mm,
You know,
mhm,
these things are important that somebody sees you at some time, that respect, that give you a better view of yourself so that you can shake off all of that useless, those useless thoughts and useless feelings. And that's all I've tried to do with everything I produce is dive into those subjects because I know people are feeling screwed up. I know people are feeling messed up, and they don't have to tell me. When you live with functional depression for, forever, and you finally get rid of it, when you see people doing what I call known self-destructive behavior,
mm,
smoking a cigarette, got to have a drink every time one's offered a party ain't a party unless there's alcohol, they'll leave. When you see people running from themselves or poisoning themselves, not like I hadn't had my Long Island iced tea nights and stuff like that, but
mm,
when you see people doing something that is known self-destructive behavior, that tells you how they feel about their life and their expectations of things that they think are coming and things that they think are not. Most people live like I'm committing slow suicide with these known self-destructive behaviors, hoping that I hit a winning lottery ticket.
mm,
And if a person haven't been to a certain level of depression and they're not even recognized. because the self, degradation is so commonplace. It's called happy hour.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
And so for those that want out, the Black Nova experience produces a plethora of products that give you a more real look at reality so that those who really want to be real can see it and fill in those potholes so they don't have to step in them too and get on down the road to their success.
Mm. And that brings to, now we just mail bonded, by the way, but that brings to, you bring up a really, really great point, and the confusion of this, we'll call it a trope for lack of a better word, this trope that we're born into, which we eventually call society, or the rules of our society, is exactly what you said. We spend the first like maybe 12 to 15 years being indoctrinated into this system, which has no real purpose except but to teach us to be like everybody else. Like it, it literally teaches us to stop running, stop being loud, stop dressing different, go get in the line that everybody else gets in, get the same food that everybody gets, sit in the same community that everybody is in, with no clear purpose. Like what is this going to teach me to be? Like I have three kids, and two of my kids are boys. And so at some point, I had to have a talk with my two sons about being black. Like, at some point, we got to have this conversation that you are considered different than some other people. And we had the conversation, we've had the talk, it was what it was. But then it made me wonder, do white parents sit their kids down and go, hey, just so you know, you live in the greatest country on earth. You are always going to get a little bit more privilege when you fill out a form. Make sure you fill out white, like put that in a big, put a circle around it, because you know, and do Asian people had to tell their kids, like, hey, just so you know, people are going to think that you can kick their ass no matter what, because they just will. So, like what these societal tropes do to us is they put us in a prison that then for the rest of our lives we're trying to either break out of that prison or accept ourselves in that prison. We're trying to accept that we are just a black man, and we will never be president, maybe. We will never be a senator. We will never have the perks of certain things. Our credit score will never, somehow, will never inch above 700 no matter what we do. And these are the things that we think matter the most in our lives. So I think I want to applaud you for doing something that allows people to break out of this prison. This is the matrix. Literally, this is the matrix of thought, that people are being trained from a very early age that they're only going to fit into a certain square peg, and that's life as we know it. I think it's brilliant what you're doing. I think it's brilliant. I think the motivation deserves to be applauded too. That you did this out of, I mean, you weren't doing it to make a million, billion, $1 trillion, right? You were doing it because this is something that was passionate to your heart.
Yeah, um, I I feel like I'm a late bloomer, and I feel like my true success is really coming now.
Hmm.
You know, I grew up in Texas, in Dallas Fort Worth, Funky Town, USA. Lived in Houston after graduating Prairie View A&M, moved to Oakland, at a low point in my life. I just lost my first music producer, Archie Ray Jackson, known to Houston as Blast, to a car accident. Drunk driver
Mhm.
took him. Ended up in Oakland, for a great number of years, and now move and work train control rooms, a train control room operator for 2 decades, and all of this stuff, in the midst of producing all this stuff, and then move here to Vegas. And now the only thing that I can do is all the entertainment that I was building, in the background while I was working the train control rooms. So it's like all of that hard work, and boom, now you're here in the place where entertainment is it.
Mm.
And so what also comes along with that is, hey, you're on the Ace Michael show today, and somebody might hear it. And the opportunities that you're looking for, you may have to really be kind of cordial because, like you said, we are black men. And there is another stigma that comes along with that. There is not a place on earth where the peoples on those lands' success is not measured by how much better they're doing than their black population. And that's just a fact.
That
I was
is so
down,
real.
I was down in my beloved Brazil, and I had a human experience unlike I had in London or Denmark or Norway, any of the places that I had been. When I got to Brazil, it was the first time that I felt like I was treated like a whole human being, where I
Mm,
didn't have to watch how I was being perceived, by lighter skinned people and none of that, because there were so many more black people, in Brazil until people weren't just looking at you that way.
hmm.
And it's like one of those experiences where you have to be there because you will have never had that experience in your whole black life. And so when I came back a few years after that, the Miss Globaliza, queen, the queen of the carnival for all of Brazil, so happened to be this really dark-skinned, beautiful sister with the best attitude, and she was an actress and all. And they took the Miss Globaliza crown away from her.
Mm,
In my beloved Brazil, where I had this, more than human experience, and they took her crown because they said that she was too black to
mm,
represent Brazil.
mm.
Amazing.
How
And
did?
then you have, Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice, you know, here. So how do you, right? How do you not express those things? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
How do you not express those things and keep a straight face so that you can get opportunities because someone else holds the keys to everything by might and force? We're all dealing with the fact that we're living under people who control everything by might and force. If that had not been true, Michael Jackson would still be here. Prince would still be here. Sam Cooke, Otis Redding would still be here. Nipsey Hussle and Young Dolph would still be here.
Hmm.
You know, uh, Bill Cosby would not be, killed in the court of public opinion. When 3 years later they had to let him go because what they say he was guilty of, they found he was not, but they knew that out the gate. But just to disenfranchise him and take America's TV father to a place where not many respect him, anymore.
Mm,
You know, the Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Florida, Wilmington, North Carolina, and all the black institutions, where we wouldn't be asking for,
mm,
anything.
hmm.
The Negro Baseball League, all these things that we had that, basically we got terrorized out of them. So now, knowing these things, you're right, you did have to have that conversation with your sons just because this exists, not
Right.
because we want it.
Right.
But if you're going to get anything in the world today where other people's control things that you need access to, there's a certain amount of, you know, Mr. Happy, you have to perform in order to keep everyone feeling good while you're suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a. It's not really a joke, but I guess it's a saying that's floating around because we're living in the generation right now of the Epstein files. No matter what, that is happening, and so a lot of people will say, well, this is what I've heard people say. I don't know if a lot of people said it, but I've heard more than a few people say this, that if Jeffrey Epstein had been black, by now those files would be released. If the people in those files were black, by now those files would be released. Those people would be in jail, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes people will say that with a little bit of a chuckle. But the thing is I've heard the expression people say, well, black people just sing the blues. They just cry the blues all the time, how bad it is for black people. And the counter to that expression that I've heard, which I love, is actually black people just cry the truth. Like we don't have to make it the blues. Like this is really the experience is real. It's not like we're trying to make it like, oh, woe is me, I'm black and the world doesn't care about me. And but no, dog, I am black and the world doesn't care about me. Like, why does it take me so much more effort to do the things that seem to come so much easier to other members of our society, right? And it goes back to that whole fruitalism idea that I opened the show with, or the Middle Ages thing that, for some people, imagine being born into a life where your job is to be the footrest. That's your job. And you're lucky to have that job, because the job beneath that is the guy who has to clean out the trench that where we use the potty and dumps into the hole. Well, somebody's got to clean that hole every day. And that could have been your job. So luckily, you get to be the footrest, and the king gets to put his feet on you to stimulate his nerves at night to keep him from having nightmares or whatever. I really love what you said. I was moved by it. And at some point, we're supposed to talk about your movie. So let's let's we're gonna put a pin in that for a second. We may come back to this. It's very, very it's actually like a whole nother show. But tell me a little bit about this movie. So I got this promo piece, and I saw this handsome devil standing behind this woman who looks a little bit like she's unaware. And it made me think this is some kind of a thriller or mystery thriller. Maybe tell us a little bit about the film.
I've acted in quite a number of movies before moving here to Las Vegas, and I played some really convincing roles in those movies too. Heavy in the Game, back in Oakland. It's become an Oakland town classic. I played a kingpin named Teddy Rouse, baby. He ran things, and people thought that I was a real pimp during the movie premieres. Guys was posting up next to me thinking they about to, soak out some game. And when they found out that I was just acting, they were so disappointed.
Mm,
Said, so you talking about the guy that never kept the hall pass too long, never skipped a day of school because you couldn't bring, that madness back home to Florida May and OC Durham. You couldn't do that, not in my house. So I walked the line for real, real. And I'm the quintessential good boy.
mm,
But acting is something that I really, really love to do, to take a character and transform a character in something, dynamically believable. And with the People's Network here in Las Vegas, got a chance to do that. Bobby and Renee Peoples, TPN1.com. If you go there, you'll see all sorts of movies that they have made, all good psychological twisters, um, really good editing. When people say, Tubi movie, these are not those movies. These are
mm.
very well, highly produced movies. And my first movie that I acted in with them was Bloodline Betrayal. Um, Actually, the first movie was the one that you saw the advertisement to, Her Last Patient.
Yes.
And believe me, I was her last patient.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like that would have been her last patient for sure.
But they put Bloodline Betrayal out first, even though we shot it second last summer 2024. And so I took the role of Thomas, the clueless husband in Bloodline Betrayal, just to show how drastically different a character I could play from this Lucas Morningstar character in Her Last Patient.
Now, as an actor, and especially as a black actor, do you have to be conscious or concerned about being typecast in different roles? Like, uh, do you have to worry that, okay, another gang leader? I mean, even Al Pacino was offered the role of I forget the movie now. It's a big, big famous movie, and I think it was Heat. I think it was Heat, and he said, "No, I'm not going to play the gangster again. Like, come on, like I'm the Godfather, Scarface. Like, come on,
Right,
I want to be the
right.
cop this time, right?"
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in my beginning first two, three movies, I was either kingpin or henchman, stuff. And so finally in 2012, I got a chance, or 2019, I got a chance to I'm sorry, 2009, I got a chance to play a police officer
Mm,
and the Docio Hobbies, Secrets and Sorrow, which was a short about teen domestic violence.
mm,
And after that, in 2012, I got a chance to play a doctor, an author, who returned to a broken family. And I hadn't acted in any more movies. I did a stage theater, play in 2014, experienced the Black Love Experience, which came off the 2012 movie, where I played the same doctor character, but just on stage. And after 2014, I hadn't done any more film. It's like everything, I started shooting a mass number of music videos, is what I did with my videographer, Aquavis Warfield.
mhm,
And that is what consumed my time, was just shooting all these brilliant music videos. I was on fire. It's like if anybody had an addiction, some people addicted to meth, some people addicted to, to crack or weed, whatever. Producing music videos was what I was addicted to. Couldn't wait to get to the next one.
mm,
But after, a while, we moved here, and I just was, the summer of 2024 was so hot. I didn't want to go outdoors. And so I sat in here and published my first book, Snakes and Snails and all. But, getting here, the People's Network, they just had such a open, plethora of characters that you could pick,
mm,
and read for to see what you wanted to do. And they've just given me an opportunity to audition for different roles that keep me from being typecasted, you
mm.
know. So I play this really dunce husband that just, you feel sorry for him because he's so clueless. And then there's Lucas Morningstar. You know what I'm saying? He's not clueless at all. He's clever and conniving, and he's
Right.
really something. And so, what could end up coming out of this, her last patient in this Lucas Morningstar role, is I am kind of slotted to potentially talk to the producers of the Candyman movie series
Mm. Okay.
about doing a whole new series of Candyman-like movies.
Okay. And I
And
notice. I'm sorry.
that might, if they agree, then we end up doing a series. I might get, I don't think I'll allow myself to get locked into, being the new Candyman only, because I do have a range and other roles do interest me. And as long as I'm getting involved, in other things, then I can keep that from happening. But you can have it happen to you, like what happened to Batman. After all of those years of playing Batman, when that dude came out of the mask, he was still Batman and he couldn't get any more acting roles.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not going to let that happen. That's what previous history is for, so that you can sample it to keep from stepping again in the same potholes.
Now, before we run out of time, because time is never on our side with the show, we always get into a really good conversation and time's going to run out. I noticed when you were talking about your characters, you chuckled at some and you laughed openly at some others. And I've noticed that other actors do that too. When they talk about their characters, it's almost like they're talking about not a piece of work that they've done, but literally like another person. This is a whole nother person. Do
Yeah.
you feel that way about your characters? Like, are your characters not you? Because you created the
Um,
character.
totally, totally not me. Teddy Ross, the Oakland Kingpin, was certainly not me. And that's what tickled my dad and my brothers so much. They saw this boy that they knew never got in no damn trouble. Now my brothers, even my baby brother, far more gangster than I ever, you know.
Hmm.
And it tickled them because they know it wasn't me. But it was so real to the people in Oakland that they thought I was a legitimate pimp, like the pimps that played in the movie The Mac. Those were like real pimps, right?
Right. Right.
And so, Thomas, the clueless husband in Bloodline Betrayal, I ain't that dumb. You know, neither am I a real, neither am I a real monster. Like Lucas Morningstar in her last patient. These are all roles that I'm playing, and some are more serious, and those are the ones that we as actors don't laugh at. Like
Mm.
you're not gonna find Denzel laughing about his role in Malcolm X because he pulled it off so well, because that was a serious role.
Mm,
But yeah, I'm gonna laugh at Thomas. Thomas is a dunce,
mm, mm.
but I'm not laughing at Lucas Morningstar because he's serious.
Do you ever encounter a role that is darker or deeper than you care to go, and you maybe surprise or scare yourself with that?
Not yet, and I don't think even if I did that I would, feel a certain way about it because acting is fun to me. I just want the opportunity to do it for some major dollars. I can transform a character. I love it.
Mm.
The Smile movie series, I think that's probably outside of Saw, that's probably my favorite, horror movie series. And when you see me do this damn smile, man, I catch people off guard and I mess them up. So I want to be in the Smile movie series. You can go on my site, kedorham.com, and when you get to the end of my actors, site, you'll see me in the Smiles. You can see these, little commercial snippets and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I want to be in the Smile movie series. I want to be the new Candyman. I want to be, in something, that where people say, damn, man, you really got me. And that's what I've been getting from this Lucas Morningstar character in Her Last Patient. The one word that keeps coming, to me, even during the shoot, is how creepy I am.
Wow.
People are really creeped out.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
you said that kind of creepy, just so you know. So today on the show, it's been Black Nova, and Black Nova. If we want to pleasantly stalk you on the internet, we want to find our way to be your next big fan. How do we find you on the www?
Yeah, blacknovaentertainment.com, Black Nova Entertainment on YouTube if you want to see all the music videos that we've produced. Um, the Hidden Thought Show on YouTube, or thehiddenthought.com. You can see the podcast for those who like some intellectual thought, and something that's not going to be cliche and surface, something, so, getting into the real meat of thought. The Hidden Thought Show. You'll see me there, in the purple background with the black, head wrap on. And if you want to keep up with my acting, kedorham.com.
And that is what's up. I want to thank you for being my guest on the show. Everybody, have a wonderful day today. And you know what I say, my good friend: live the life you love and love the life you live. Thank you.